Class is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Kayla Thompson, and I am the Coordinator of Marketing here at ASTA. I will also be the organizer for today's presentation. We are happy to welcome today's presenters, ASTA's very own Bob Douglan and Jen Whitney. Bob is Vice President of International Membership and Expansion and works very closely with Jen, who is our Director of Marketing. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We will be answering your questions at the end of the presentation. To ask a question, you will use your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane is an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a window pane. This is what you will use to communicate with us. If you are having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure your speakers are turned on, and if you're called in, try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issue via the questions pane, and I will try to answer them. I will respond to you via that same pane. Also on this page, there is an area labeled Handouts. Here's where you can find a downloadable PDF copy of today's presentation. Be sure to download this PDF, which includes contact information before the webinar is ended, as it will only be accessible at this time. Please also note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you, but we have so many people on the call that the background noise can be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear the entire presentation. Finally, remember that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for on-demand viewing at asta.org by early next week. Now let's get started. It is my pleasure to introduce Bob and Jen.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Kayla, for that introduction. And Jen, thank you for being with me on here. And Jen and I both traveled together to Israel earlier this year to do our initial site inspections. So we're really excited to be able to present this to you today. Those of you that know me on the line know we have been working on this for over 2 years now, and we're really thrilled that we're able to bring the expo forward. Kayla, if you could switch over to the next slide. And let's talk about, is this your first ASTA Destination Expo, or is this your 20th? So, what should you expect in attendance? What you're going to get is you're going to have the key to increasing sales to Israel through certified destination training that will boost your business and inspire your clients. You'll also be seeing and experiencing things that you won't be able to normally experience elsewhere. If you've been on a destination expo before, we do exciting things like last year's opening ceremony in Athens was in an amphitheater below the Acropolis with an opera singer welcoming us, the tourism minister. Some very unique things take place, and we expect that in Israel. And then, who should attend? And it's you. It's our advisors looking to add their specializations, those who sell Israel looking to expand on their knowledge, and those that want to sell Israel, that want to learn about a new market. And who are you going to meet? You're going to meet local suppliers, local vendors. You're going to network with our fellow ASTA members, and you're really going to have a kind of a home-based network of partners to help fulfill your client trips. I was really excited last year when we did Athens at the number of connections that our members made with local suppliers that are using them and have been using them for their clients' needs. It's one thing to work with a supplier here in the U.S. that might be a big tour operator, and they're great, but it's another thing to work with a local supplier that knows what's going on locally. So that's awesome. And Jen, please jump in too with anything, because this is your work in putting this together.
Sure.
And if not, Kayla, can we move to the next slide? And then, who's attending so far this year? And 69% of people who are registered are currently not selling Israel to their clients and want to add that to the packages. 33% of the people sell sell leisure, followed by 26% luxury, 23% moderate, then economy and corporate. And 44% are interested in religious tourism, followed by adventure, groups, and meetings. And Israel is so much more than just these things. It's food and wine, it's history, it's the three major religions of the world, There's so many other things there. There's a large gay and lesbian tourism sector in Tel Aviv as well. So there's a lot that's going on. And the questions our members are asking us, they want to know about modern Israel. What has to do with agriculture, you know, eco-friendly, kibbutz, gastronomy, museums, and the new hotels. And people are saying, I'm interested in selling Israel, but don't know enough about the destination. So that's what we want to help with. And the land of creation, Israel. There's a great map that Jen found for us that kind of shows what's where in the country. And let's take a look at the number of tourists from Israel. Over 600,000 in 2017, almost 1 million in 2018. And I think, Jen, they were looking at 1.3 million in 2019. And, you know, Israel is one of the safest countries I've ever been to. And I want to add that here. The amount of security that's in Israel is you know, really high. The fact that it's you know, I live in Fort Lauderdale, which is a great city, but, you know, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, those places have actually much safer crime statistics and whatever else may be going on. So if we can flick over to the next one.
Just one comment I do want to make. I don't know if you know, a lot of people who are on the call have seen, but you know, Israel has put a lot of money in investing into their marketing here into the U.S. So just myself, when I went in February to Israel, and before I went, I was seeing commercials and Facebook ads and everything on you know, the news and TV about Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and of course, you know, wondering how in the world do they know I'm going. But what I find very interesting is the Ministry of Tourism is actually continuing to invest in, and they have a $7.6 million digital marketing campaign with $15.92 million in television and transportation marketing campaigns. So my guess is if your clients haven't asked you about going to Israel or information about it, they're most likely going to be asking you in the next couple of months, as they're most likely going to be targeted with these campaigns.
Yep, but I've seen in particular a lot of the Food Network have quite a few.
Yeah.
Great, and our host city in Israel is going to be Jerusalem. And Jen, you and I stood in that exact spot, didn't we, in February? And, you know, we're looking that 80% of all tourists to Israel visit the city of Jerusalem. 5 of the top tourist sites that are in Israel are right in the country. So, you know, Jerusalem sells itself. We really don't have to tell you about that as you look at it, the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, and the Dome of the Rock, the holy sites of the 3 major religions. So this is really an exciting and amazing city. And as much as it's a religious city, it's also a very modern city. So you have both wonderful history and a spirituality of the place, as well as modernity. Jen, this was your first visit. How did you feel when you were there?
I didn't have extremely high expectations going in, just because I never had experienced the country before. But going in, it's definitely in one of the top 5 countries I've ever visited. From the people to the food to the history behind, I learned so much going in. And not only did I visit Jerusalem, I visited Tel Aviv as well as Masada and the Dead Sea. There's really something for everyone in Israel, and having our host city in Jerusalem, I think everyone's going to be very, very excited to be able to experience that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Kayla, if we could move on to the next slide. Okay, let's take a look at what our event program look like. The dates that are coming up are November 10th to the 14th for the expo itself. We have our pre-fam, our educational journeys, November 5th to the 10th, and we'll talk about those. November 10th, your arrival transfers and the opening event. And with this Destination Expo, your transfers are included from Tel Aviv Airport. So that's something that's good to know. And so much about this expo is inclusive, including your hotel, most of your meals. Monday 11th, we'll have the opening general session. We'll do destination education sessions, trade show, B2B meetings, and an evening event. Tuesday, we'll have the same thing. We'll have a little bit of sightseeing that's thrown in as well. Then Wednesday will be full days of sightseeing. and you'll have the opportunity to choose between a number of places. Thursday will be your departure transfers to Tel Aviv Airport, or you'll be moving on to the various educational journeys that we have set up. And again, everything is included with that. Now, we have a unique agreement with the Israel Ministry of Tourism this year. They are the sponsors of this event. They're providing the hotels for us and a lot of the other information. So we don't have the structure of the program yet. I'm hoping to have that in the next couple of weeks. But we're using all 5-star hotels while we're there. Hotels like the Inbal, the Orient, some of the others that we were in. And we'll be assigned to these various hotels. And they're great experiences. Jen, we were in the Orient, and that was a great hotel.
Yes, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And now let's take a look more. I think the next slide is about our educational journeys, if I recall. Oh, it's our registration rates, even better. And this is where you see what the costs are for our members: single occupancy, double occupancy, and should you ship to ASTA, past Destination Expo.
Bob, I'm so
Yep.
sorry. Can you just repeat what you just said? I think we got disconnected very briefly.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's go back and talk about our registration rate. You can see what we have for travel advisor for double and for single. For guests, if you choose to bring a guest, you see the single rates are very reasonable. This includes your hotel, as we mentioned, your transfers, most of your meals, most of what you're going to be doing there. So, you can't stay home for prices like this. For the non-members, you add $199 to the cost, and you get a full-year membership in ASTA. So that's a great deal with that. Now, anyone who's been a past Destination Expo attendee, send an email to meetings@asta.org, and you'll get $50 off your rate for being on the call today. And from looking at the list of people who are registered, I know I've seen you, and some of you in Istanbul, and in Mexico, and Peru, and Athens last year, so make sure you take advantage of that deal. And then the early bird rates expire, and the price goes up, looks like $50 a head. So take advantage now until, Jen, is that September 6th or June 9th? I forget if we're doing European.
There's a little bit of a typo on there. So early bird is until September 6th, and then starting September 7th, it should say, would be the regular rate, and the price has been increased by $100.
Yeah. And to give you an idea, we've got about 100 people registered right now. We're looking for 300 to 500. And what's exciting is, having done these events with ASTA for, going on 10 years, whenever we start a registration and we get 50, 60, 70 right out of the box, that kind of tells us, yeah, we're going to hit those numbers at 300 or more, which means it's going to be a very robust group. And the Israelis are going to be really happy to have us there and make this a very rich experience for everybody. And Jen, have I covered everything with registration?
Yes, you have, except for the next slide, which is what's included. I think you've touched base on this a little bit. I'm going to scroll to the next one, but just to kind of put it in front of everyone, I think it's great to see.
Yep. Yep, and that's our accommodations. Your four nights at a 4-star or above, checking in November 10th and out November 14th. Your round-trip transfers from Ben Gurion, any of the special events, the ed sessions and meetings, most meals, and God, the food is good in Israel. And your pre- and post-educational journeys are an additional fee, and we'll talk about those briefly as well. So, Jana, have I included everything?
Yes, that is it. Now on to the
All right, let's,
journeys.
as they say, and head on to the next slide here. And these are our pre- and post-educational journeys, our fan trips. You can see right at the top, there's Petra in Jordan, Cyprus, Tiberias in Israel, the Dead Sea, Nazareth, Eilat. And let's move on to the next slide if we could and get into this a little bit. Now, we're working with some really great suppliers in all of our fan trips. These are tried, true, and tested ASTA supplier members we work with a long time, and I'll point them out. Some of their logos are at the bottom. Amiel Tours, I had the opportunity, Jen and I, to meet them when we were in Israel. I had a little last-minute problem with my own arrangements, and Rachel from Amiel really did an awesome job in taking care of me, so I know we're in good hands with them. Boaz from EDI Travel, known him for years. They're awesome. iWorld of Travel, that's the Gelber family that was behind ISRAM that are working with us there. And then our very good friend, Ari from Vered Tours, who was so involved in everything we do. And if anyone's on the line and you're going to Rhodes, and Jen and I will see you there next week, the end of next week, Ari Marone from Vered will be there, so you can talk to him about some of these. So the pre and post journeys that we have set up, they're going to take you all over Israel. Now keep in mind, Israel is only the size of New Jersey. It's not a huge country, so you're going to have an opportunity to see and do, quite a bit while you're there. We're going to be focusing on religion, whether it's Christian or Jewish, history, food and wine, culture, spa. There are so many things there. You're going to have a chance to go float in the Dead Sea. If you want to go down to Eilat, you want to go up to the Sea of Galilee, Tel Aviv, Haifa, whatever you want to do, we're going to be able to do. Masada, we can't forget that as well. Now, we're also working with the Cyprus National Tourist Office. Cyprus is very close to Israel. It's a real quick flight over there. For those that want to take advantage, there's going to be a 5-day post-journey to Cyprus. So you can come on in, do a pre-fam with Amiel or Vered or iWorld or EDI, and then join us in Cyprus afterwards, or over to Petra, Jordan. And another great opportunity, we're going to have pre and post fam trips in Istanbul for those that are flying Turkish Airlines. And believe it or not, Turkish is the second largest air carrier to Israel, and I think they've got 10 gateways in the United States. So there'll be some good opportunities with those fams as we post them. And if we can move on to our next slide here, we'll talk a bit more about air and what's available for you. And look at these airline discounts that we have. United Airlines is offering 2 to 10%, depending on fare code and type. And you can find that right on travel at asta.org/Destination Expo, the URL at the bottom. Air Canada, 10 to 15% off fare, depending on fare code and type. Now, these are good on coach and business class. Last time I flew to Israel, I flew on Air Canada, Fort Lauderdale to Toronto, Toronto right over to Ben Gurion Airport on a brand new, beautiful 787. And if I'm not mistaken, Air Canada has like 28 gateways in the United States, and even from some of the smaller cities. So that's really a great deal. El Al, and we're working with iWorld of Travel for our contracts with El Al and Turkish. El Al is offering discounted fares from San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Miami. They're the gateways they want to promote, and those are the prices that are on there, plus taxes. And these are the varying dates so you can do the FAMs. Then finally, Turkish Airlines, 15 to 20% discount based on the codes that will be available. El Al and Turkish will have up in a week or two. We don't have right now. But that also includes for Turkish business class. As you may or may not know, they just opened a brand new airport in Istanbul, which is absolutely beautiful. And I know the food on Turkish is absolutely terrific. So there's 4 ways you can get to Israel on discounts. And you don't have to fly one of these if you've got points or miles or a preferred carrier. You want to come in on, American from Philadelphia. That's good too. You'll get picked up regardless of how you're coming in. So if we want to move on to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit more about the partnership we have with Air Canada on this. And Jen, do we have a video here we want to share?
Sure do. I'm going to pull that up right now and get that played for you all.
When you're traveling to Europe or Asia from the United States and you need to connect, you have options on where to connect. But not all options are created equal. Whether you're flying from Boston to Hong Kong, LA to London, or Philadelphia to Shanghai, why not consider flying through Toronto on Air Canada? That's right, Toronto. It'll save you travel time and help you avoid the lines. For the U.S. traveler, connecting through Toronto Pearson before flying internationally is seamless. Upon arrival, most passengers will proceed to Canadian Customs, but not you. From the U.S. arrivals gate, you'll be directed to a dedicated bypass above the main customs hall. Here, you'll quickly show your passport and emerge at the gate area for your international flight. No changing terminals, no shuttle bus. In Toronto, it's that simple. So before long, you'll be in the air again. this time traveling overseas. When it's time to return to the US from Europe or Asia, connecting through Toronto instead of other options can make all the difference. Because at Toronto Pearson, you can pre-clear US customs, and it only takes minutes. Here's why. Upon arrival in Toronto, you'll approach a special customs area. Here, you'll find your name on a display board and immediately gain access to US Customs and Immigration through a priority access. Instead of the hours it takes to move through customs at most US airports, the priority line at Toronto Pearson takes mere minutes. Let that sink in for a moment. Minutes versus hours. After that, you're on to security and your return flight to your final destination, home. Although traveling through Toronto is all about efficiency, it's also about comfort. Our Maple Leaf Lounge is the perfect spot to catch your breath before flying. So the time you save can be spent relaxing in a comfortable armchair, enjoying complimentary food and beverages. There's even the added luxury of your favorite shops and award-winning cuisine around every corner, making Toronto Pearson the whole package. Just don't forget about your flight home. After you board your Air Canada plane and arrive at your U.S. domestic terminal, you can simply claim your bag, because even your bag has it easy. Throughout your journey across the globe, you don't have to pick it up and recheck it. It's automatically sent to your next Air Canada flight. How about that? So when you land in the U.S., you can walk right out of the airport, past the lineup of people who didn't connect in Canada to pre-clear U.S. customs. It's been a long journey. You've been to the other side of the globe, but flying with Air Canada through Toronto Pearson will make it feel a whole lot closer. It's what we call traveling smarter.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. And, Air Canada is also part of the TSA PreCheck program. So if you're going to use Air Canada for your flights, you can use PreCheck. They also have global entry at Pearson in Toronto, so that's really helpful. And also Turkish Airlines is also part of TSA PreCheck. So if you choose to use them, then you'll have that as well. Now here you can take a look at Air Canada's network. I thought there were 27 cities. They're saying more than 50 cities. So, there's great connectivity. It is Canada's largest domestic international carrier, and just got to love those 787s. They're so comfortable. So that's great. Appreciate that. And the best-in-class connection, check into your flight, you'll arrive at Toronto for this. You follow the signs for connections. If you have lounge access, relax in one of the Maple Leaf lounges. If not, there's great shopping and great restaurants up at Pearson Airport. Then you head right to your next flight. You don't have to switch terminals. Your bags go right through. And also, if your flight connection doesn't work out and you have to overnight in Toronto, I believe it's a Marriott hotel that's right inside the airport. So you don't even have to leave the airport for your accommodations. So it's a great option for you. Now here's the discount code. This will be up on our website. You don't have to worry about writing this stuff down, but you go right to the Air Canada website to do the booking. It's to Tel Aviv, TLV. You've got a 7-day window before and after with a travel period of November 3rd to November 21st. So basically you can spend pretty much every day but Thanksgiving in Israel, courtesy of these flights. And the other carriers we're working with have similar windows as well. So this is really good stuff, Jen, and thank you for including this for everybody on the presentation today. And what are some of the things our members are saying? And these pictures that are below are from the Destination Expo last year. I recognize that lunch, I think, at the Grand Breton Hotel. On the right is the trade show. Gentleman on the left with the gray hair is the U.S. ambassador to Greece, and his wife on the left. They came and spent half a day with us. So these are the kind of folks that get involved with the events that we have. And one of our attendees said, even though we may work with tour companies in the U.S., gaining knowledge of what local providers can make offers a world of difference. We now know who to contact, the specialty and quality of services they offer, so we can add special touches to a customer's trips, matching interests and delivering a more assured satisfaction, a winning combination. And, I'm a travel advisor myself. I get this. I use local trusted suppliers. I know for my trips to Israel who I would trust for my clients, and I think you'll find the same as well. And Jan, you're hearing the same feedback too, aren't you?
I am, yes. Especially for destination-specific events, just the the connections, and not only with the suppliers, but also other travel advisors and travel professionals that are from around the U.S., but also internationally, is one of the biggest, feedback that we've gotten from people as far as the reasons why they want to go.
Yeah, that's great. And can we move on to the next slide, please, Kayla? And this is so much fun. Those lunches we did last year in Athens at the hotels, everybody liked that so much. We're going to try and do that again this year in Jerusalem, where one of the lunches that you're out, one bus is going to go to a different hotel, so you'll have the opportunity to do a site inspection and have lunch at some of the great five-star hotels that are in Jerusalem. And who are we working with? We're working with the Israel Ministry of Tourism. That's their logo on the left. And then in putting together some of the education programs, the trade show, the B2B meetings, we're working with ASTA's counterpart, our sister organization in Israel, the Israel Incoming Tour Operators Association and the Travel Agents Association. The one thing that I picked up when we went to Israel, and this was the second site inspection I did, is no matter what hotel I went to or who I went to see, they said to me, we hope that you use our property, but if you don't, more important than anything else is we want you to come to Israel. So, the people that are welcoming us there, the suppliers, the hotels, the tourism ministry, they know how important American travelers are to Israel, to the economy. They also know that Americans spend more per capita than any other incoming group. So, there are people, China's a big new market for Israel. Europe has always been big. Russia, Australia, but they know Americans have a higher per capita spend. So we're going to get more attention with that as well. And I think this kind of wraps up the presentation that we have. Don't forget to register, asta.org/Destination Expo. Don't forget to email meetings@asta.org. And Jen, if you want to add anything here, we want to take questions. Please fire away.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just kind of taking a look here to see if I have any questions that we've had coming in. Just a couple. Somebody had asked in regards to business class for the airlines, and I know you remembered, or I'm sorry, I remember you mentioning that for Turkish Airlines, the discount would be towards business class as well. What about the other airlines?
Yeah, United and Turkish Airlines both are offering percentage discounts. So business is included. It would be that percentage of whatever the discount code would be. So you book that right on the site. With El Al, it's coach only at this point.
Okay, great. Another question that just came in. Looks like they were asking if they can make airline their airline tickets now, or if they should wait for the pre and post sessions. I can go ahead and answer this one for you. So it is in your best discretion to wait until your pre and post FAM is confirmed through ASTA before booking your flights. We do expect to have the pre and post FAM options to registered attendees within the next 2 weeks. That's 10 business days. That will be on our website and available for purchase. And we will announce it and email it to registered attendees of Destination Expo about 48 hours before we open it up to the public. One other question we had is, when will we have the cost? Is the cost will really help them to decide if they can attend. Bob, do you have somewhat of a price range from a double occupancy and a single occupancy that we can offer to the webinar attendees?
I'm sorry, Jen, you cut out on me at the end of that.
Some individuals were wondering if we had kind of a price point on what those FAMs will be. Do you have kind of a ballpark figure that we could offer to them so that it'll help them to decide if they can attend?
Sure, yeah. In taking a look at the FAMs, it's hard to give you a specific price, but I'll give you a range, because we're looking at FAMs anywhere from 3 to 5 or 7 nights. But you're looking at inclusive costs of anywhere from, I would say, $400 on the low side to about $1,500 or $2,000 on the high side, keeping in mind those higher numbers like $2,000 are things that include Petra, because of what's involved in getting over there. But I think our goal, Jen, is to have these up and out within 2 weeks. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have all of that information, and if anybody has any specific FAM they want information on, email me at bob@asta.org, because we're going to have FAMs from 5 different organizations and 3 or 4 each. So it's like 20 or 25. But I'm happy to help you out with some basic ideas. Just email bob@asta.org, ASTA.org.
Great, that's great. We do have some specific FAM questions, so that's great. So those individuals who have, maybe been asking about Cyprus or in regards to Istanbul, for sure. And then to a question in regards to the FAMs or educational journeys, which is kind of our new term for these. Most of them will be starting on the pre-conference, starting on the 5th. We are finalizing a couple of more that might start a little bit, a day before or a day after the 5th. And then as far as the post, most of them will end anywhere between probably the 18th and the 21st. Again, we're in kind of the transition period of confirming those. That way we can get those up on the website for everyone. But do rest assured that, regardless of when the dates do start for the FAMs, you will be ending at the Destination Expo in time for November 10th. And of course, the post won't start until after the Destination Expo is over, which would be November the 14th.
Yeah, that's good information to have. And just generally speaking, most of these FAMs are going to be anywhere from 3 to 7 nights, with the bulk being 4 or 5. I know the one to Cyprus is 5 nights, and everything's included except your air from Tel Aviv to Cyprus, and I think that's all of about $60 or $70 each way. But everything else, it's going to be by coach, because Israel is a very compact country, and of course those on doing Turkey on Turkish Airlines, you'll be doing that as part of your stopover.
And one last question.
Do we have any other? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. One last question is in regards to the hotel. Some individuals are interested in wondering how will the hotel work, as though, noticing on the presentation we haven't mentioned any hotels. Can you kind of go into a little bit more detail on what that will look like?
Sure, yep, exactly. In working with the Israel Tourism Ministry on this, they have an obligation to the hotels in their area to be able to kind of spread the wealth in terms of giving our members different experience at different hotels. So they're the ones that are contracting for the hotel space. They know what our American standards are, 4 stars, 5 stars, and above. So what they're going to probably do, and I don't know this for sure yet, but we'll have 25 nights at, or 25 rooms, maybe at 5 or 6 different hotels. And from knowing that area, they seem to be in clusters where you'll have, 2 or 3 each in one area, and you'll be assigned your hotel based on when you register. So those that are in first will get, whatever the hotels are that come in first. But there are hotels I'd never heard of before that I went there, like the Orient and the Inbal, that are absolutely gorgeous 5-star properties. The Orient, God, I was over the moon with that one. So you can take a look and see, on TripAdvisor or Google or whatever, and see what these kind of properties are. So you're going to be staying somewhere that's nice. I guarantee you that. And if we need to be transported for meetings and events, there's going to be a coach that's going to take you. And everything, Jen, what was it, maybe a 5-10 minute ride from anywhere to anywhere else?
Yeah, just about. It's all very, very close to each other, and, all very walkable too. Some of the hotels are just even right down the street from each other. So, if you have a friend that's staying in one, you can always meet up halfway and, grab some lunch or something. Great.
Okay, I'll tell you, I'm looking at questions that have come in already, and I have one here from one of our members who was very involved with one of our large chapters, and she's asking, they have 12 people from their chapter that want to do a FAM together. So yes, we can do that. We have that information right up front. We'll just add that right in, and I'll contact the person that's involved in putting that FAM together and say, hey, we've already got 12 people, 6 rooms, whatever. So, and there'll be plenty of room for everyone else on there as well. So that's really great. So we're already getting interest in feedback.
Great.
I love that. 12 so far.
That's great. That's great. I mean, I don't blame you either. I was able to attend a FAM, an actual FAM that was hosted by the tourism board in Israel in February, and it was really great to see the different aspects, as I mentioned before, of Israel, from the north to the south, and just kind of getting a taste of all that. So I'm hopeful to be able to go back in November to experience even more. I think, that kind of does it for our questions. One question did come in regarding the sightseeing that we mentioned on November 13th. The agenda we do have is not set in stone. It is tentative. Our partners are working very hard and making sure that they're going to build out more of an event program that's catered to our needs. So when you register, we do ask you questions, and if you've ever been to Israel before, if you're currently selling, and what type of travel you are selling. That way we can build a program around there and maybe have some specific tours that are catered around the different type of travel that you can bring, of course. And one more question is, somebody had mentioned, this is more of a personal question in regards to FAMs. Guests are allowed on FAMs, so do keep that in mind. But one more time, Bob's email is bob@asta.org if you have any specific questions regarding a FAM that you're interested in. But I think other than that, Bob, I think we're good. I think everyone seems to be very excited about this, and I hope that, if you guys have any questions, you reach out to us. We'll be more than happy for you.
Yeah, and again, if anyone on the call is going to be in Rhodes next week, talk to us there. We love talking about this stuff. Like all of us, we have a passion to travel, and we absolutely love providing these opportunities. So, Jen, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone who's on the call. Kayla, thank you for your hard work. And, Jen, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we're good. Go ahead, Kayla.
All right, thank you all. As I mentioned, this webinar was being recorded, so if you would like to listen to the presentation again, it will be available to ASTA members at asta.org. Thank you to Bob and Jen and all of you who have joined us for today's webinar. This will conclude today's presentation, and we hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Please be sure to complete the short survey that will pop up on your screen any moment, as we greatly appreciate your feedback.
Great, thanks all.
Thank you.